Over the last few years, the city has become really good at taxing us, right? In 2001, the annual budget was $105 million. And they ran the city with all the garbage pickup, disposal, water delivery, same system we have now. But now they're running at a budget of $200 million a year. That's a substantial increase over those 10 years. And they've been neglecting to deal with the biggest issues we all face, which is the cost of housing affordability and the growing crisis of homelessness on our streets. We could save money by addressing those problems instead of dealing with them. Like I was saying, Canada spends $9 billion a year addressing the problems of poverty, and it would only cost $4 billion in all of Canada to eradicate poverty for that year. So we have to challenge the establishment. They like the status quo. I'm not sure why they're continuing to pressure us into buying more police as policing or crime has been dropping off. So we can challenge these assumptions that our society has been making, and we can get our property taxes lowered again. 7% jump in property taxes is a bit ridiculous, especially since that if we promised to borrow the money, there would be no significant jump in taxes. We heard that story. So things are getting a bit ridiculous. User fees for everything. A lot of people have been complaining about parking downtown, how much it costs and how quickly they're ticketed if they're 3 minutes late. And businesses are closing. You'll notice that there's a lot of vacant storefronts downtown. People are moving out to the malls because they don't have a problem with homelessness there. Okay, now it would be the right thing to do and a cost-saving measure to address that. The infrastructure projects that they're coming down the pipeline, I question all of them. They said that the Crystal Pool was designed to last 20 years. I think that's ridiculous. They've also set it up by, if you notice the last line in their story said, it's the most greenhouse gas emitting building we have. So they're setting up you guys to accept the fact that we're losing the Crystal Pool for no good reason. Cement and steel structures can last a very long time. Thank you.
Well, within that, there's so many questions. Let me just try and hit you some quick snappers here. First of all, I think it's important that if we can, we move to more of a service charge, that for you as an individual household, that if you can say, I control how much water I use, that I can individually change how much my tax system. So if we can move more stuff to utility-based as opposed to just property tax, that at least gives you a chance, much like we're doing on garbage. Now, we think it's really important that we pull the organics out of the garbage, but we're saying you can change how much you pay by saying, are you going to do a large tote or a small tote? And we're going to come out and consult with you and say, do you want it every 2 weeks? Do you want it once a week? Do you want it alternate weeks? So we're coming out, we're engaging citizens and saying, you have it, and we're going to provide that opportunity for you to say, yes, much like your house, things happen. Pipes get old. Roofs need to be replaced. There is, like a city, you need to continually invest in your infrastructure and put in. Victoria's a little bit of an older city. We got old pipes, you know. We finally got rid of the wood ones. Still got a few brick ones. We're relining sewers. We have a lot to do. In 20 years, we're going to be in great shape. And the challenges will be for Langford and Saanich and all the rest if they don't build up the infrastructure deserve to make sure they're dealing with it. I think it's important, though, that we do recognize that we are seeing increasing taxes. We are seeing increasing challenges. Steve put out and said, well, take a look at 2001. I was trying to think, what was significant about 2001? And I went, oh, yes, Gordon Campbell got elected. You want to know how homeless? I mean, they closed down all of the mentally ill, and they left for municipalities to deal with that. I am proud of the work that we've done to deal with homelessness. We have much more to go. I want the opportunity to continue to do that. We've been working for 18 months to develop an economic development strategy, recognizing that if we can grow the economic pie, that's the way that we can address the issues around. And I'm very curious to see someone else's plan. I know that my plan wasn't built by me. What we did is we took 30 of the best and the brightest in the city, the head of tourism, the head of high-tech companies, the head of the local business associations, the head of the green business associations, the home-based value system, and said, let's build a plan. So I say, attack them at their peril. It isn't me that built this plan. It's the best in the city of Victoria.
I'll be the first to agree that taxes have risen far faster than they should. In fact, I was really disillusioned when the mayor this year went out to community associations, and I was at many of them, and he promised taxes would rise 3.96%. And then we got hit with 7% a month and a half later. What happened between 3.96 and 7%? Well, he'll rationalize it to you, but it was wrong. It was wrong to promise one thing, say another. We got priorities. What are they? Well, the city has promised, mayor has promised to come out with a list of infrastructure priorities, so we're not going to be surprised like we were with Blue Bridge. But that promise was over a year and a half old, and we still don't have them. LRT is his number one priority. He stated that a number of times. It's not my number one priority. That's, somebody else's. When we look at our taxes, we're paying 20 to 35% more than they are in Saanich. 30 to 35% more than they are in Oak Bay. And these are based upon numbers that come right out of government figures. I'm not misleading you on this. I'm telling you the truth. I can't promise to keep taxes down. I'd love to promise to keep them to the rate of inflation or less, but I don't know what I'm dealing with. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have an independent financial review of the city's financial affairs. I need to know what we're faced with. I know Dean Fortin is moving towards user pay, but for those of you that are seniors that defer your taxes, the more we use to user pay, the less you're able to defer. I like user pay, but it may not be the right way to go for some people. Economic development strategy. I read the economic development strategy. It's geared towards the region, the greater Victoria region. Where were the other municipalities? Why are we developing an economic development strategy that's going to benefit them as much as it's going to benefit us? That economic development strategy needs to be written. It needs to focus on Victoria. It shouldn't be focusing on Greater Victoria. Thank you.